Hello everyone. Today, we are going to dive deep into the story of a movie that is widely considered the greatest cinematic masterpiece ever made. **The Shawshank Redemption**. Released in 1994, directed by Frank Darabont, and based on a novella by Stephen King, this movie holds the #1 spot on IMDb with a legendary 9.3 rating. But did you know that when this movie first hit theaters, it was a massive box office flop? It couldn't even recover its budget. However, over time, people realized its true value. This isn't just a story about prison life. It is a profound tale of hope, patience, ultimate friendship, and the unyielding human spirit that cannot be locked behind iron bars. Let's step inside the dark walls of Shawshank State Prison and look at a journey that took 2 decades to unfold. The story begins in 1947. Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, a young, successful, and cold-mannered banker, is convicted for the murder of his wife and her lover. Despite protesting his innocence, the circumstantial evidence is heavily against him. The judge sentences Andy to 2 consecutive life terms, and he is sent to Shawshank State Prison **, one of the most brutal jails in Maine. Shawshank is ruled with an iron fist by 2 men. Warden Samuel Norton **, a hypocrite who carries a Bible but possesses a cruel heart, and Captain Byron Hadley **, the sadistic chief of the prison guards who doesn't hesitate to beat inmates to death. During his first few weeks, Andy keeps to himself, observing the harsh reality around him. Soon, he approaches Ellis Boyd Red *, played by Morgan Freeman. Red is the prison's entrepreneur, the man who can smuggle anything into the jail from the outside world, whether it's cigarettes, cards, or candy. Andy makes a strange request. He wants a small *rock hammer *. Red is hesitant but agrees, jokingly thinking that no one could ever use such a tiny tool to escape, as it would take 100 years to tunnel through the thick prison walls. Later, Andy also asks for a large poster of Hollywood actress Rita Hayworth to hang in his cell. The initial years are a living hell for Andy. He becomes the target of a brutal gang of inmates known as the Sisters, led by Boggs Diamond. They attack and abuse Andy regularly. Yet, despite the physical and mental trauma, Andy never loses his quiet dignity. There is something calm in his eyes that sets him apart from everyone else. In 1949, a major turning point occurs. Andy and some of his friends, including Red, are selected to tar the roof of the prison factory. While working, Andy overhears Captain Hadley complaining about the heavy government taxes he will have to pay on an inheritance left by his brother. Risking his life, Andy walks right up to the brutal captain and asks, "Do you trust your wife?" Hadley is furious and threatens to throw Andy off the roof. But Andy quickly explains that as a former banker, he can legally set up a tax-free gift for Hadley's wife, saving him every single penny. Andy doesn't ask for money in return. Instead, he asks for 3 cold beers for each of his fellow inmates. The next afternoon, the prisoners sit on the roof, drinking cold beer in the warm sun, feeling like free men for a brief moment. Andy sits in a corner, watching them with a gentle smile. On that day, Red realizes that Andy is no ordinary man. He uses his mind to create a sense of freedom even inside a cage. Soon, word spreads. Andy's financial brilliance catches the attention of all the guards. He begins doing tax returns for the prison staff, sets up college funds for their children, and eventually starts managing the illegal, under-the-table financial scams of Warden Norton. The warden sets up a system to exploit prison labor for public contracts, taking massive bribes and using Andy to clean and launder the dirty money. In return, Andy is given protection. The Sisters are severely dealt with, and Andy is allowed to build the finest prison library in New England. We move forward to 1965. Andy has been in Shawshank for nearly 18 years. A young, charismatic rock-and-roll inmate named Tommy Williams arrives at the prison. Tommy is a career thief, but he has a good heart. Andy takes Tommy under his wing, patiently teaching him how to read and write and helping him pass his exam. One day, Tommy asks Red why a classy guy like Andy is in Shawshank. When Red explains the murder charge, Tommy is completely shocked. He reveals that years ago, in another prison, his cellmate was a psychotic killer named Elmo Blatch. Blatch had bragged to Tommy about murdering a banker's wife and her golf pro lover, laughing about how the innocent husband took the blame for it. Realizing this is the proof he needs to clear his name, an excited Andy runs to Warden Norton. He begs for a new trial, but the warden is cold and dismissive. Norton knows that if Andy goes free, his financial crimes, the money laundering, and the illegal accounts will be exposed to the world. He cannot afford to lose his personal accountant. When Andy gets angry and calls the warden obtuse, Norton snaps. He throws Andy into solitary confinement, a dark, windowless box, for 2 agonizing months. To make sure the truth stays buried forever, Warden Norton lures young Tommy outside the prison walls late at night. On Norton's silent signal, Captain Hadley shoots Tommy dead, framing it as an escape attempt. When Andy is finally let out of solitary and learns about Tommy's murder, he is completely devastated. His legal path to freedom is gone forever. After the tragedy, Andy changes. He becomes dangerously quiet. One evening, he sits with Red and speaks in a distant voice. He talks about a beautiful Mexican coastal town named **Zihuatanejo**, calling it a place with no memory. He then tells Red, if you ever get out of here, go to a specific hayfield in Buxton. Look for a long stone wall with a big oak tree. Under a unique piece of black volcanic rock, there is something waiting for you. Red is terrified. He fears that the grief has broken Andy and that he might commit suicide, especially after learning that Andy managed to get a long piece of rope from another inmate. That night, the prison goes to sleep under a heavy thunderstorm. The next morning, during the routine roll call, Andy's cell is empty. He has vanished into thin air. Warden Norton is furious. He storms into Andy's cell, screaming at the guards. In a fit of rage, Norton throws one of Andy's rock sculptures at the large poster hanging on the wall, which is now a picture of actress Raquel Welch. The stone tears through the poster and disappears. Stunned, the warden walks up, rips the poster off the wall, and gasps in absolute shock. Behind the poster is a massive, deep tunnel. For 19 long years, Andy Dufresne had been using that tiny rock hammer to slowly chip away at the concrete wall. Every single day. He hid the dug-up wall dust in his pockets and subtly scattered it in the prison yard during his walks. On that stormy night, Andy crawled through his tunnel, cracked open the prison's thick sewage pipe with a rock, and crawled through 500 yards of absolute human waste and filth. He emerged into a nearby river, stripped off his prison clothes into the pouring rain, and raised his hands to the sky. Finally, a free man. But Andy's masterstroke wasn't just escaping. Before leaving, he took the warden's finest suit, his shoes, and the complete ledger containing all evidence of the warden's corruption. He also used the fake identity he had created for the warden's illegal money, a fictional man named Randall Stevens. The very next morning, dressed in the warden's suit, Andy walks into several local banks. He withdraws over $370,000 of the warden's laundered money. Before leaving town, he mails the corrupt ledger and proof of the murders to the local newspaper. The police arrive at Shawshank. Captain Hadley is arrested on the spot, crying. Realizing his empire has collapsed and he has nowhere to run, Warden Norton locks himself in his office and shoots himself through the chin. Sometime later, after serving 40 years, Red is finally granted parole. Re-entering the outside world is terrifying for him. He feels institutionalized and lost without the prison walls. But his promise to Andy keeps him going. Red travels to the town of Buxton. He walks through the fields, finds the long stone wall, and spots the majestic oak tree. Just as Andy said, he finds the black volcanic rock. Underneath it, buried in a tin box, is a stack of cash and a letter. The letter reads, "Remember, Red, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies." The letter invites him to come to Mexico. Breaking his parole, Red boards a bus to Texas and crosses the border. The movie ends with one of the most beautiful shots in cinema history. Red walks along the endless, bright blue shores of the Pacific Ocean in Zihuatanejo. In the distance, Andy is working on an old boat. Andy looks up, sees his old friend, and a bright smile breaks across his face. The two friends embrace under the open, free sky. Fear is gone. Prison is gone. Only hope remains. And that, my friends, is the redemption of Shawshank. It reminds us that no matter how dark our current situation is, we must never let go of our inner freedom. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think of this incredible story.